that. Microphone is on.
Progress.
All right, I'd like to call the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting to order at 9:02 a.m. I'd like to welcome council to the meeting. We received notice from Councillor Whitus this morning that he has an appointment and will be joining us later during the day here. Thank you to administration and anyone attending online. Just a reminder, the meeting is being live streamed and it is also being recorded. So with that, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. As is customary, Councillor Naka, any additions?
Nothing for me.
Deputy Reeve?
No, nothing for me.
Councillor Wick?
Nothing for me this time.
Okay, Councillor White has confirmed he has nothing. I don't have anything. I believe administration may have some correspondence.
Mr. Reed, we have one piece of correspondence from the RCMP to Minister Ellis.
Nothing else.
That's all. Okay. We will be handing out an item dealing with item 8.1. No, not even. 8.5. 8.5. Thank you.
All right. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I move that Lamont County Council adopt the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting agenda as amended.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Item number 3, adoption of the minutes. All those have the opportunity to go through the minutes. Any errors or omissions noted?
I move that the Lamont County Council adopt the April 8th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Issue is the April 15th. Right?
Sorry for that.
Yes, it is.
It not April 15th, so.
You're okay with that friendly amendments?
Yes.
All right, any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. We don't have any public hearings this morning, nor do we have any delegations, so we'll move on to item number 6, bylaws. Subdivision redevelopment board bylaw. Peter?
Mr. Reed, on April 15th, we brought a briefing to council, perhaps a little more. Seeking council's authorization to add to the county of Lindbergh, our partnership dealing with subdivision and development appeals. As a result, we are bringing forward an amended bylaw as well as an amended agreement. Given that we reviewed this at a high level, and given that the changes are almost purely legislative, we thought there was no point in bringing this forward to committee of the whole, but rather straight to decision. Ms. Manuel will take you through some of the highlights.
Yes, good morning, Councillor Reed. As you see on page 23 of the agenda package, that is the old bylaw that states in the fourth paragraph from the top. It states that the municipalities of Lamont County, Town of Lamont, Town of Bruderheim, Town of Montpelier, Village of Andrew, and Village of Chittenden. Because the municipalities are mentioned here in the old bylaw, we had to write a new bylaw which doesn't specify exactly the municipalities, but leaves it open for partnership municipalities to join the agreement. The old agreement that was done in 2029 is on page 25. It has quite a few procedures and Schedule A, and has ISB member rules of conduct in Schedule B, as we just learned from our Minister MacIver. There's the municipal affairs would not like to have any code of conduct anymore. So we did not mention Schedule B, and we took out the conduct, and we found it unnecessary to add the procedures to the agreement, as Lamont County will be the coordinating municipality, the coordinating partner municipality for this agreement, and will conduct the hearings according to the rules of the MGA and according to board member training and clerk training. So on page 44, you see the Schedule A of the bylaw, that is the intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal agreement between partner municipalities, Lamont County, Town of Lamont, Town of Bruderheim, Town of Montpelier, Village of Andrew, Village of Chittenden, and now new County of Maine. The agreement itself looks quite different, although in the agenda package you've highlighted the main changes that have been made to the agreement on page 46 and 47 and 48. The highlighted changes where that is now partner municipalities instead of mentioning every single individual municipality by name. And here. We have added the 5.9. If a member resigns on the term or the term expires before a decision is issued on an appeal hearing, the member shall remain an appointed member. This has been shown to be beneficial to have in the agreement for past experiences where all of a sudden a member is missing. The quorum itself has not changed. We still need 3 board members on the ICAB panel, but there could be an incident where we do not have 3 available members for a hearing that we need to set up on short notice. And in this incident, we would like the CAO to be able to appoint a board member just for that particular hearing to be able to conduct that hearing, because we need a quorum of 3. ISCAB clerk, I added the basic requirements that the ISCAB clerk has to deliver for a hearing, to prepare the hearing, during the hearing, and after the hearing. And we added the remuneration to the agreement, which is the same as the county's reimbursement policy for board members. Additionally, you will find section 11, the termination clause, which allows municipalities to leave the agreement should they so desire, without terminating the entire agreement for everybody else. Questions? 。 You have any comments?
Any questions for Christiane?
So does this make it easier if someone decides to, another municipality decides to join? Does it make it easier for them to join?
Yes, definitely, as there is no limits to the, named municipalities in the bylaw. It just says partner municipalities, so if, a partner, another municipality, in the vicinity of our county would like to be added to this agreement, this can be done without changing the bylaw. Just the agreement has to be changed.
There is no more municipalities within the county, is there?
Municipalities that we have in the agreement have joined the IFBAB in 2019.
I think the point that the REIT was making is that Smoky Lake County wanted for us to do their
Yeah.
SDAB hearings or to those county, just like Lindbergh has asked, and if this is approved, then we will do that on their behalf. I would caution that we don't want to have too many more.
Yeah. Okay, why did they, okay, for example, Midford, why did they want to join with us?
I'm not certain.
Well, it is, there are some complexities in maintaining a trained and equipped clerk, as well as there is some efficiency in only one municipality ensuring that we have a slate of panel members and so on. So why have everybody duplicated?
Yeah, non-biased, and sometimes you have a. need
But I thought
to-
that like Midford is huge, eh? Why?
Well, it's about challenges maintaining a trained, competent clerk.
Sorry if I may add, sometimes it's difficult to maintain a quorum of trained members, which needs to be a minimum of 3 to be unbiased. And may I say that here that we would appreciate if the partner municipalities would advertise that we are always open to new members of the board that would like to get trained as a board ISD subdivision and development appeal board member. And we would bring them forward to our next organizational council meeting, for the council to decide to appoint new members.
You accept them or
Yeah.
deny them, yeah.
And I forgot to mention on page 51, there is a sample ISD bylaw for the partner municipalities who always also have to pass a bylaw that they want to join this agreement.
One that in many respects mirror the county.
Yeah.
And the people that are appointed to this board, it's for a 4-year term that expires in an election year.
The agreement mentions a 4-year term. And I think by the end of this year, we will have a few members. Or that, who have the term expiring, their term, they have been on the board for 4 years by the end of this year. So, it might be that we require a few new member, or at least we have to ask members if they want to, do another training that has to be, repeated every 3 years or every 4 years. It has to be repeated.
And are you the ISDAB clerk?
I am one of the ISDAB clerks, and Ms. McIsaac is the second appointed ISDAB clerk.
All right. Any other questions? Not, we Is council prepared to put first reading on the table?
I can make a motion that Lamont County Council give first reading to bylaw 889.25 intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Seeing how there's been no amendments brought forward, I'm prepared to give the second reading that Lamont County Council gives second reading to bylaw 889.25 intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board.
I move that the Lamont County Council give second reading to bylaw 889.25 intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Council prepared to give unanimous consent for third and final reading?
I move that the Lamont County Council give unanimous consent to hear third and final reading of bylaw 889.25 intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0, and I will move that Lamont County Council give third and final reading to bylaw 889.25 intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0.
Just when you thought it was safe to move on, there's another motion.
Yeah. Okay, now there is another motion on page 2 of the agenda, and that's to have the partner municipalities execute the agreement.
Make a motion that Lamont County Council direct administration to forward the updated intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board services agreement to partner municipalities, Town of Lamont, Town of Bruderheim, Town of Mandaire, Village of Andrew, Village of Chipman, and the County of Minburn for execution.
Any questions or concerns?
Mr. Reed, I'm having a sober second thought. I wonder whether this should say that Lamont County Council directs CAO to execute the updated agreement with. Otherwise, I'm bringing this back to you again to sign it.
Yeah.
So what type of friendly amendment do we want to make here?
Did anybody listen to what I said?
Direct the CAO.
Direct C-
Administration.
Direct CAO to execute.
Direct the CAO. Direct the CAO.
Execute the updated. Will break administration forward?
Yeah.
Councillor Wick, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Moving on to item number 741, fire services invoice from Township 560.
This may also be a sober second thought kind of a situation. Mr. Boyko is proposing that we clarify the resolution that we made in the last meeting so that there are no questions going on.
Thank you, Mr. Kowalski. Good morning, Mr. Reed, members of the council. We're on page 56 of the agenda. So the motion that was made at the previous meeting, while it was understandable when we were making the motion, the administration is proposing just a slight amendment to it to clarify the amounts. When we read it to charge Mr. LaFontaine $266, sounds like that's what the charge is going to be. So administration's first recommending that we rescind that motion and use the full amounts of the amount, or sorry, of the billing. and have a little bit more clarity if somebody's looking back in the, 6 months or so. So, Lamont County Direct Administration can write off half of the fire billing of 4532 and forgive the interest charges for fire event, and leaving only 266 paid. There is no change to the amounts that were discussed in closed session last meeting. It just gives a little more clarity for what administration needs to run off.
Council, any questions?
Okay, so the only thing that's left is just the 266,
That's correct.
the interest charges.
The 266 will be left, the interest charges will be left. So, the original invoice was 4532. He's paid $2,000 of that at this point, and then 266 is all that will be remaining. And yeah, there is interest charges, but the direction of the last meeting was to look at this.
Yeah, it gives the resolution a little more clarity, I guess, and not open to a different interpretation, I guess.
Right.
So. Council, have any concerns?
That's the case.
Okay, so then we'll look for a motion to rescind the original resolution, which is
Resolution 2025-27.
right.
Yeah, I move that Lamont County Council rescind resolution RES 2025 270. Which reads that Lamont County Council direct administration to change Mr. LaFontaine's $266 and forgive the remaining amount owing on the invoice for fire event 2409344, including finance charges for fire services on Township 560 as discussed in closed meeting.
Any questions or concerns in regards to rescinding the resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. And I guess to get the next resolution on the books here.
The Lamont County Council direct administration to write off half Mr. LaFontaine fire billing of $4,532.50 and forgive the interest charges for fire event 2409344 on Township 560, leaving only $266 payable.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. 7.2 advanced poll. Sorry. 7.2 advanced voting 2025 municipal election. Peter?
Mr. Reeve, Ms. Benoit will be bringing updates from time to time during 2025 with regards to the election and key activities. This time, the topic is the advanced voting. Go ahead, Mr.
Briefing council, from today forward, I would like to bring some updates on the changed local authorities election act to council to just give council and residents an update on what has changed and what is coming up. So the advanced voting says subject to Section 3, an elected authority may by resolution provide for holding an advanced vote for an election. Just as a reminder, council has passed the municipal elections bylaw last year, and there is a paragraph in there that allows for advanced voting. So no resolution has to be made at this point. Subject to subsection 4 and 7, a municipality having a population greater than 5,000 must provide for holding an advance vote. The election, on the election of municipal councillors, including a by-election, but Lamont County has no greater population than 5,000. So we don't need to worry about that. If the election is being held in only one ward, but that ward is within a local jurisdiction with a population greater than 5,000, the requirements in subsection 3 applies. That does not apply for Lamont County either. No advance vote shall be held within 24 hours of election day. That's important. And this is new. Subsection 6 says the returning officer must determine the days and hours when the advance vote under subsection 2 or 3 is to be held. Subsection 7 says the minister may at any time make an order to exempt an elected authority from the requirements to provide for holding an advance vote under subsection 3. With this, the returning officer is requesting authorization from council to set dates, times, and locations for an advance vote for the 2025 municipal election. Last time in 2021, at the last municipal election, council made a resolution that the advance votes for 2021 were held on October 8 and October 9. I would appreciate some input from council if you are in favor of advance votes, and if you think that 1 or 2 days might be beneficial for the county. What council could decide not to prefer not to vote in advance.
I don't imagine we know how many people voted in advance in 2021.
I could look that up, I haven't looked that up yet.
The argument for advanced voting is that there may be people who are either out of town or out of country, right, at election time. Do we have mail-in option?
No, we don't have an
So
option.
we don't have a mail-in option. So.
So last time we had the 8th and the 9th, do they have to be 2 days together or they?
They
can
don't
be
have to
separate?
be 2 days, they can only be 1 day as well. Sometimes in municipalities, in smaller municipalities, 1 day is sufficient. 2 days gives more options for residents if they work 1 day and the other for another.
Sunday's not eligible, or is it?
No.
Yes,
Sundays? Sure.
it can be Saturday, Sunday. I think that's what October 9.
This year, Saturday, Sunday would be 11/12 or 4 and 5 if it was 2 weeks.
The official election day is October 20th, which is a Monday. We don't have any information on the advance poll from 2021.
I think some people used it, but I don't think it was a great amount. I'm talking from my division because I did, they sort of add the votes afterwards, sort of a separate item, so
We still have a little bit of time to think about it. Doesn't have to be decided today, because it's just a little information for now.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I take a look at Division 2, which is all these acreages. And probably majority of those people are working off far from those acreages. And I think that there's a sprinkling of acreages coming up throughout the county, so probably a small cost, but it's a service that we offer, I think, and yeah.
They're always worth offering, so.
So the recommended motion is quite general, and it authorizes the returning officer to set dates, times, and locations. Obviously, if they decide something to leave.
And before, we always said it for the county office here. The administration building.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You want to push it now, or is that?
No, let's do it now.
Pardon?
Let's do it now, then it's done.
I move that Lamont County Council authorizes the returning officer Christiane Benoit to set dates, times, and locations for an advanced vote for the 2025 Lamont County municipal election.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. All those in favor? It's carried 4-0.
Thank you, council.
7.3, 2026 budget meeting dates.
Mr. Reed, as we kind of look beyond the next 2 weeks and next 2 months, as far as the agenda of the council and the election, we recognize that things get very, very busy in the fall for the new council. And obviously the philosophy is even if there's one new councillor, it's a new council. We've enumerated in the attachment a number of committed dates. And we're trying to avoid collisions, but also trying to minimize the exhaustion for councillors. So we propose some timeframes that build upon our typical process of base budget and deliberations and approval, and add into it various orientation elements. So Mr. Boyko will take you through some of the highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Karlsky. So, yeah, Mr. Karlsky said it very well. The fact that with 2025 being an election year, that the time following the election is going to be very, very full. And so if you look on that schedule, page 64, you'll see that those weeks start to get pretty full with meetings. And I'm sure that each councillor remembers that time. So what administration is proposing, and so on page 61, it kind of shows the continuum of what council does with the financial planning cycle. So we just got through the annual audit that was completed in the last meeting, and started soliciting engagement and reviewing the strategic implications will be coming up. And the fact that the current council has the experience of the last 4 years of the base budget, administration is suggesting that the budget recommendations to council come prior to the election. And we tentatively set August 18th to 20th to be those dates. And it's a good time to deliberate the base budget, and what's happened in the last few years. Is there any adjustments to service levels that the incoming council may want to do? And it provides some pressure on that post-election schedule. And then what would happen is that the dates would be pushed back for the ratification into December. And so you'd see that it would be December 2nd to 4th. Now, we've normally been pushing it up into earlier into November, but this is taking it out of that November period, putting it into December. And it gives the new council coming in time to, again, look at what council recommended and bring that forward if that is the new council's choice. So what administration is asking is that, and this is normal, we always bring forward the budget dates, normally a little later in the year, but instead of bringing it forward a little earlier. The recommendation would be to schedule August 18th to 20th for the budget committee meetings, as well as endorse the calendar that is on page 64 and 65. And administration's trying to put as much detail in as possible. You'll see that even the admin side is on this schedule. So the beginning of August would be the time when administration is doing an internal review of those department budgets. And what we do at that point is the department managers bring forward requests and suggestions. Senior administration sits down and as a whole deliberates whether those amendments should be done or not, or if they're able to be funded. August 14th, again, pushing that up a little bit, would be the council bus tour, so that council has enough time to look at what is in those budget deliberations. Regular council meeting, you're gonna see the results of the survey, comment on any base budget directions. Pushing the triennial report up ahead to September 9th so that council can see that before an election break. Then we have nomination date and the general municipal election, and proposing no council meetings during that time. And then the orientations get quite heavy. There's some significant requirements with the new updated MGA of when these orientations must be completed. So you'll see that we'll be going through the major bylaws and benefits with the new council on the 23rd of October. The organizational meeting would be the only meeting that's held on the 28th, unless there's another urgent matter that needs to come up. The regional orientation in Bruderheim, as well as the ASB regional conference in Vegas comes very quickly after the election. The first council meeting would be November 4th, in lieu of having one in the same day as the organizational meeting. November 12th and 13th, going through the department orientations, going through those service levels. So this is part of what the new council will be looking at with budget, is knowing what those service levels are and any ongoing projects. We have the elected officials training and the RMA convention from November 17th to 20th. November 25th, the regular council meeting, November 26th, a mandatory course in the emergency management for elected officials. And then into December, starting those budget deliberations and recommending the approval of the budget on December 16th. And then, of course, January and February, starting to look at the strategic plan review, looking at the bylaws and service level policy updates as they go forward, and then, you know, continuing on into that future year.
Well, I want to emphasize that the new council will obviously approve its budget. There's an opportunity for council to be able to take it forward in terms of some understanding of priorities. And then, kind of from the October 20th to November 25th period, we're just trying to help make it manageable for you. Counselor, what you may recall was every counselor was pretty crazy. And given how things are laying out with regional orientations, with we're just trying to limit the number of 4-day weeks.
And one of the things that, that I've heard from, our administration, our departments, is that being able to get moving on the new year budget has been one of the things that's been able to help us get projects completed, to get better pricing on projects and equipment. So that, while, you could push the budget approval off into the new year, that really starts to increase costs and slow down the completion of projects as they go forward.
So from a timing perspective, from administration, does the administration enough time to come up with?
Yes, we've had discussions with the administration team and the extended leadership team. The fact of that it's coming forward in August, we're already building those budgets as well. In fact, our Public Works admin has more than happy that it was opened up as soon as possible after we completed the last year's budget. So with the concept of the base budget that we have going forward, the more information that we get into there sooner, the better the detail is from an administration perspective. And the main discussion that we're gonna have in that August 18th to 20th time period is there adjustments needed to that? And what changes are we gonna suggest to the new council for increasing or decreasing service levels? And we will look at those costs and see if more detail.
On page 61, Rodney, we're planning on doing the citizen survey, and I believe that's the one that we're gonna use an outside source to
Yes.
do a telephone poll to X number of ratepayers in each division. Are we gonna have those results back to incorporate into the?
It'll be slightly after that, so right now we're getting quotes on getting that done, so we've started that process, so we've scheduled that those results would be most likely we're gonna see them August 26th, so it's gonna be slightly after that those council budget deliberations. Hopefully we'll see them a little bit earlier, but that'll be the time that we have council ratify. Council ratify those results in a council meeting and not just a committee. But we do anticipate that we should be able to see the preliminary results of that at the August 18th.
Schedule.
Well,
Because whoa.
well, then, for the council, I mean, I remember when I first got on.
The most accurate way I've heard it described is drinking from a fire hose. There is a lot of stuff that happens, and it's having that election date of October 20th. Doesn't give a lot of time with the fact that our year end is December 31st, and budgets and all of that kind of stuff have to be done. It's a very fast and curious time of year.
see, this another thing that should be stressed out to anybody that's running for election.
You should put this in the package.
Yeah. What you have is from October 20th,
Yes,
carry you on, and you get on, boy, look out. You're not just walking, you're running.
it's not a part-time job.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, not the months and a half, the 2 months guarantee.
Yes.
well, even farther down, but
Yeah.
that's what I think should be stressed to anybody that thinks they're gonna get on council and it's gonna be part-time. It's not a part-time job. It becomes now full-time.
Well, we even had to kind of stop at some point, so we kind of picked that January, February just to stop, because this could go on for probably 2 more pages.
But it would be overwhelming.
Yes, exactly.
But I think that's what they have to have in mind.
You may recall that we spent the better part of January and February in committees as a whole reviewing specific levels of
Right.
service.
Yeah.
And having council direct changes in policies, whether it was for snow removal or other.
I believe it was about 18 hours worth of council time that we spent in 2022 going over levels of service.
But that's where you have this new council coming in. They think that they can do everything, eh?
Yes.
It's kind of an eye opener what we got laying ahead. Considering we just laid the last year to rest here a couple weeks ago. In fact, I'm not even sure we did that. Have we filed our financial statement?
Yes, they've been filed last week, so.
Okay, so we just filed our financial statement with municipal affairs, so. And here we are, we're looking at next year, but.
And yes, I've been getting considerable amount of grief talking about 2026.
So
Appears.
this kind of gives us a starting point to go. Obviously, at the organization meeting. The council will have the latitude to change that. However, this is helping us a little bit, so that we can get ourselves in position.
Well, and I guess to a large degree, like we have our 3-year capital operating budgets kind of in place already. So we kind of have a general idea what we're planning on going forward anyway, so yeah, I think we're okay here. Any other questions?
Motion that Lamont County Council direct administration to schedule August 18th through the 20th, 2025 for the 2026-2029 budget committee meetings and endorse the attached agenda or calendar of events. Sorry.
Any questions or concerns regarding the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. 7.4 offsite levies.
Sorry, the next item here, we're on page 66. And this is a briefing for council. With the 2024, May 2024 adoption of the offsite levy bylaw, one of the requirements is to provide annual reports on the activities for the surround offsite levies. So the municipal infrastructure projects constructed during the previous calendar year, construction costs of those projects constructed, and any amounts that are paid out from the offset levy funds, the estimated construction costs for projects yet to be completed, and an explanation of any adjustments to the estimates, amounts that are collected in the offsite levies, and the total value of any funds that are being held to be expended on projects, interest earned and commitments for future expenditures of such money. So page 67 talks about the infrastructure that was laid out in that May 2024 offset levy bylaw. And these projects, essentially we've been given project names, description, and then the costs are on that third column there. A total of 35 million is set to be constructed of roads, and 30 million of so that's 16 million of potable water offsite, and then on page 68, 30 million of storm offsite infrastructure. There's been no change to these numbers from what was approved in the bylaw. Page 68 then brings the report back of what was collected. So there is 2 levies that were collected in the year. And that was for transportation of 1.2 million and for potable water of 530,000. These were set up in, if council remembers on the financial statements, there's the offset levy receivable. These are the amounts from that offset levy receivable that was set up in 2024. So then the report on the amounts that are in those funds is this bottom half of page 68. So council will see that that 1.2 and that 530 are in place here. So our balance in our offsite levy funds right now is 3.1 million for roads and 2.4 million for with 0 collected for storm. So this is essentially an annual reporting that the council will be getting. And this is the first report for the new bylaw, and as council may remember, we did this same type of report last year based on the old bylaw. That old bylaw was originally adopted in 2014. And Ms. Irving is here to help answer some of the questions as well. That's what we have. For council's reference, the bylaw is attached to it as well. Page 72. 76.
Just for context, our bylaw says we need to report on status annually, and believe that we revisit costs every, was it 4 years?
Yeah.
It can be annually, it really depends on,
Required.
yeah. It depends on if there's been any changes or, we have new development that, changes the needs as far as which roads need to be constructed first, then you would see some amendments to the bylaw.
And there's no work that we actually have to be doing right now too.
No, there's no projects that for the 2025 year that have been set up for this project.
That's right, and actually, we do have some good news in that, if you all recall, there was a call out from our MLA for different improvements that we would like to see within our area, and one of those that we put forward
is Road 201 and Highway 15 intersection improvements for decel and acceleration lanes. Mr. Dietz and I had a really good meeting with the province, and they're taking on the design of that intersection and doing the transportation impact analysis. So there is work going ahead. You're just not going to see it budgeted because we've been able to lobby and influence the government to do that for us.
Very good. Yes. Water off that infrastructure, we're probably doing 1.1 million in upgrades.
So the upgrades to the Heartland Station is budgeted to, so there's reservoir expansion and then the pump house upgrades.
Yeah.
So combined, it's about 4.55 million. We split it off into two, so there's the expansion of the reservoir itself and then upgrades to the pumping system inside.
How much are you gonna expand in the?
I believe when we look at that, it was roughly 40 to 50% expansion. And based on the projected development at the time of the original report. So whether the need is still there in 2 or 3 years' time to do that expansion, or whether we can hold off for a few more additional years.
Which direction do you do the
The
expansion?
expansion would go north. That was the way that station was designed. So we have all that room to the north. And when it was constructed, there was essentially knockout ports in that wall for us to allow, so we don't have to core into the existing cells.
Any other questions? Obviously, we need more industries moving in to pay more offsite levies, right? Correct. So we can afford to do some of this stuff. Shane? Hey, any other questions or comments?
No,
No?
you did it.
Okay, if not, I'll make a motion that Lamont County Council accept the report on the offsite levy for January to December 2024 as information. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Moving on to item number 7.5, weed and pest inspector appointment. Mr. Reed?
Indicated to Mr. Lamont, we probably leave here at 10:45, so it's not, we're obviously being very efficient. However, councilors are very familiar with this. This is something that you reviewed at the Ag Service Board a couple of weeks ago. We are on page 77. As you know, the Weed Control Act and the Agricultural Pest Act requires the local authorities appoint Ag Service Board staff as official weed and pest inspector. The Ag Service Board reviewed this on April 9th, 2025, and recommends that Lamont County Council appoint Jay Norman, Avery Stevenson, Will Turco as weed and pest inspectors for 2025. It is council's responsibility to endorse this for this to become official.
Pretty straightforward. I think it was discussed at ASB.
I'll move that the county council, that Vermont County Council appoint Jade Norman, Avery Stevenson, and Bo Churchill as weed and pest inspectors for 2025 until termination of employment.
Thank you, Councilor Warma. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried 4-0. Item 7.6, proclamation, economic development week.
The man who needs no introduction. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, thank you. It's privilege to bring this back to you again this year. Economic Development Week has been around in Alberta now for a number of years, since 2016, when it was started by the International Economic Development Council out of the United States. Our colleagues here in Alberta have been celebrating it for 5 years, trying to amplify the efforts of what economic developers do. So a number of municipalities have put out a proclamation just to help educate the public around things like business investment, business retention and expansion, tourism, all the different activities that we undertake. So there's a community challenge underway. A number of communities have already put forward their proclamations, including the town of Lamont, who was the first municipality in Alberta to proclaim the week, which is May 11th to 17th this year in 2025. So the idea is to help strengthen the profession, bring attention to the work that happens in our communities that positively impacts the lives of our residents and our business people. In the package, you will see the prepared proclamation. It's our intent again to work with Mr. Jazel in communications to put a number of social media posts that week. Is the way we look to celebrate that. And I guess as the economic development professional here in Lamont County, certainly it's my privilege and honor to work here every day, come in and do my best as I'm intrinsically motivated to get results and to help our community see new employment opportunities for our residents. So I thank you for that opportunity and happy to answer any questions you might have on this item.
Any questions for Shane? It's a worthwhile proclamation.
I'll make a motion that the Lamont County Council recognize May 11th through 17th, 2025 as Economic Development Week in Lamont County.
All right, any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried 4-0.
Good day.
You too. Thank you. 7.7, Lamont County Centennial Scholarship Policy.
This was reviewed with council back on April 2nd in the committee of the whole. The amendments of discussion will be brought forward. Commissioner Darrell will take you through the highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Reed, members of council. So, after Mr. Turner's review on the second, we had conversation in regards to some of the things we'd like to change within the Centennial Scholarship Policy. Mainly noted to encourage a bit more applicants to come in and submit applications because they've been declining over the last couple of years. So the amendments, as discussed, are highlighted within the proposed new policy, which will show that the applicants will be graduates within the last 2 years. So not necessarily do they have to graduate right now. They could have been previously graduated in 2 years. They have applied for post-secondary, but we do not expect them to have already been accepted because we reviewed that in a lot of cases that's just not feasible at this time. However, then we did put in the caveat that successful applicants are expected to provide proof of enrollment before receiving their scholarship funds if they do win them. And then also, we changed a little bit of wording at the bottom at the recommendation of Ms. Benoit with the academic performance is significant, will not vary from the primary criterion for this award. That was, the intent of the sentence was the same in previous, policy, but there was a bit of a word change there, just to emphasize that, marks are important, but that county council has other priorities as well that they'd like to look at when making their decision. I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Correction, I think that date should be April 1st, not April 2nd.
The meeting occurred on April 1st and continued to April 2nd, so that resolution was actually April 2nd.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's a long meeting.
We're making up for it today.
So are you more comfortable with the policy as it's written?
I think that it gives you a little bit of to be able to get out there and invite more people to apply.
It'd be nice to give 2 scholarships away this year. What's any questions?
I move that the Lamont County Council approve policy 3125 Centennial Scholarship Grant as presented.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. 7.8, Lamont County Council sponsorship request.
Ms. Riddell will provide some highlights on 2 requests that have come in for sponsorships.
So the idea was is that we changed the process a little bit when usually sponsorships a lot of the time come through correspondence. We requested that we bring it to council in the form of an RFD, mainly so that we can track and budget accordingly, and we have a better record. And also it provides us the opportunity in community services to go through the requests and provide some backup information that might help guide your decision. So this RFP comes to you with 2 requests that we received. One from the Bruderheim Ag Society and one from the Selfie Dancers. Now note that Bruderheim Ag Society, this is for an event sponsorship. It's not, and same for the Selfie Dancers. The Selfie Dancers have come in the past and asked for sponsorship as has Bruderheim Ag. So they do have a history of requests. In the RFD, we listed here some of the sponsorships previously. So the Selfie Dancers were given in 2023, they were given 1,000, 2024, 250. The Ag Society received $500 last year for an event that they applied for. And we did note as well that they have applied for the community halls and transportation grants separately. And that's for a facility. So they will have 2 requests this year. This one is for an event and this is for a facility. Yeah, so the budgeted amounts we have sitting in for community sponsorships, halls, grants, all of that is about 84,000. To date, council has expended $1,400. So recommendation is that we provide $250 to the Selfie Dancers as we did last year. And that we provide, 500 for the Bruderheim Society.
Okay, what's the access item using it for?
They have a program that they're trying to build. So it's a mental health program, utilizing gardening. So they get, families and participants together, they plant, they harvest, they preserve, but then they also include that mental health component as well. The Alberta Ag Society is an extremely active ag society when it comes to like urban gardening and programs that involve more aspects than just producing a product. They actually, one of their members, Sherry Cote, is very well educated and experienced when it comes to working with families and seniors. So a lot of their initiatives are geared to more than just producing fruits and vegetables. So they've done really well working with the local seniors clubs there and the kids in the schools. They work with the individuals in seniors housing. They help install raised beds for them, stuff like that, encourage them to be active. So it does fit the mental health umbrella as well.
Any other questions?
Oh, sorry.
Somebody prepared to put the recommended motion on the board?
That Lamont County Council provide rural and agricultural society with a $500 scholarship.
Or the sponsor.
Sponsorship, yeah, sorry. Thinking one thing, everybody saying another.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Reed. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. And then there's the one to the Vasilka dancers.
Motion that the Lamont County Council provide the Lamont Vasilka dancers with a $250 sponsorship.
Thank you, Councilor Wick. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. And we'll move on to item 7.9, follow action list.
Thank you, Reed. We are on page 97 through to about 107, if I'm not mistaken. Showing our progress and areas and very objectives. I think most of items number 1 to 4 are now. Number 1 to 3 are complete. The others are in progress. Actually, we're probably closest to having being completely up to date now than we have been in a month or one. We continue to make good progress. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Regarding number 1, have we received any feedback from the individual?
We have to chief or
Did we send the revised numbers?
I believe so. It's been a challenging week in fire. When we fire emergency management. I'll find out for you and let you know otherwise.
Thank Councilor Knack and Deputy Reeve for doing the check presentation to the Andrew Rural Academy. Hopefully provided a good photo opportunity.
You had any comments? Did you see anything? No. I will forward some. I think they were forwarded to administration.
Yes, there were.
We have number 8. What are we doing with the disposal of those units?
Number 9.
9, sorry.
So the 2 graders, we are meeting with a third party, vendor we've used, to dispose of our scrapers. 2 years ago, meeting with them this week to market our graders. The pickup will be going to the local auction mart in the county. And the other unit, and 1 unit from last year that didn't sell, will be going to another auction mart, for hopefully a May sale. And there's one other additional units, 1525 is that little roller. With the company we bought it from, and we are going to try and market it through them as well. Potentially have more than we could at auction with that.
And we close that.
That's that small roller packer.
Oh, yes.
Try and do it inside and through the company we bought it from.
Any other questions? Put up issues number 45.
Yes.
The keys. Now that you completed the 24 financial year, fiscal year, so you can make the transfers.
Yes, those are already complete.
So these that are gray and they complete will not show next week. They aren't completely.
Okay, any other questions? Not motion to accept this information.
I move that the Lamont County Council accept the follow-up action item report for April 29th, 2025 as information.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Okay, let's recess at 10:20 and we'll reconvene at 10:30.
All right, welcome back to the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting. We are gonna move on to item number 8, which is committee of the whole. In order to do that, I need a motion that we move the regular council meeting to committee of the whole. Roy,
I move that Lamont County Council move the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting into committee of the whole meeting at 10:35 a.m.
questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried 4-0. And we'll move on to item 8.1, 2025 gravel haul costs.
Mr. Reed, this is in response to a resolution on April 1st, where the council heard administration to respond to questions raised regarding gravel haul costs. Go ahead, Darby.
So as council discussed on April 1st, there's concerns over whether the county would overspend by whether stockpiling gravel versus what was done in years past with hauling directly from the unsourced roads. In response to council's request, we've completed the gravel stockpiling for the year, and as part of that, we've stockpiled 3,765 tons in the Andrew pit, 21,832 tons in the Lamont Public Works yard, 21,090 tons to Madair, and 8,017 tons to St. Michael, leaving 54,700 tons in the source pit. Of that, 18,738 tons were stockpiled by internal forces at an estimated cost of $99,340. The remaining 35,974 tons were stockpiled by contract truckers at a cost of $337,695. This was done, the contract hauling was done over the course of 19 working days. And the cost for loading, scaling, and gravel checking was $35,347 for a total stockpile cost of $472,383. As per discussions during budget approval, Public Works intends to haul from stockpile location to the approved roads in the 2025 gravel plan. The cost of internal trucks to haul from the stockpiles to the roads was calculated out to be $120,606. And the cost for a loader operator for 50% of the time required for to be used on the shorter hauls will be $15,280 for a total hauling cost of $135,886. The expected cost of the 2025 gravel program is $608,270. As requested by council, where the county to haul from the source pit directly to the road in the summer rather than stockpiling in the winter. The cost of the 2025 gravel program would be $506,510 for contract trucking, $480,370 for scaling, loading, and checking, and $86,400 for haul road dust abatement, giving us a total program cost of $641,280. As recommended by council, the internal trucking costs are calculated based on 50% of the contract trucking rate, and other internal equipment costs were calculated based on 50% of the most recent Alberta Road Builders rate book, hourly rates. By assuming 50% costs compared to the contract hauling rate and the ARCA rate, the costs allow for operator costs, fuel, and maintenance without an allowance for contractor profit or equipment amortization costs.
At the end of the day, we are saving money.
It is our anticipation that because we are not having to pay for dust abatement on the haul road this year, our costs will be lower than if we were not hauling in the summer. We don't have dust abatement costs, we don't have road maintenance costs, other than, you know, on other two other certain stockpile locations. But those can be Those will be done as part of our normal road maintenance program. We are also not factoring in whether there would be road damage on Route 164, which is part of the reason why council had the discussion of stockpiling this year and for 2026 as well.
Now, my understanding is we didn't get as much gravel as we wanted to the download pit.
Yes, so we had we were planning on hauling 20,000 tons to the download pit. With the change in the weather, the road started to soften up on us too quickly. So we did only get 8,000 tons hauled there. But we were planning that as a worst case scenario. So that's why we left the download pit. Sorry, the 3,700 tons to download pit. So the 20,000, just in case that were to happen, because it is the shortest haul from the stockpile location. So we will have a bit of more hauling on the range 164 and 165 north of Highway 45. But that gravel is for the Andrew area anyway, so it is shorter hauls.
Are we hauling with your trucks now?
We are, I think, we did this, let council know at the last meeting, we're starting to haul, directly off of paved roads so that we're graveling off the road, off of pavement. And then it's just empty, backhauls on the gravel. We're watering, the roads daily, in anticipation of when we can lift road beds. We're not seeing, much for road damage right now. Ag activities in the region have started over the last week and a half. And in fact, we did get notice that County of Minburn is lifting their road bans on their gravel roads effective tomorrow.
Lifting them or?
They're lifting theirs.
How many trucks have we got hauling, Darby?
I believe we have 3 internal trucks right now. We've brought on another 2 seasonal truck drivers started this week, so they're going through their orientations. And we should be up and running to full capacity within the next couple of weeks, which is based on the weather conditions and the forecast. I would expect we're probably going to be looking at that in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, our roads are pretty firm this year.
Yeah, we had a very mild spring, very slow thaw, which is good on roads. If you get that fast thaw, you know, everything is soft and wet, and things are drying up well. Potentially one nice shot of rain to pull that last bit of frost out, and the roads will be in very good condition for spring seeding.
Yeah, I just took the 18,738 tons that we hauled with our county forces at a cost of 99,340. So that works out to 530 a ton. And the contract haulers, we haul 35,974 for 337,694. That's 939 a ton.
So the request from council, April 1st was to calculate our hauling internal costs at 50% of the contract haulers. Because we're not, we don't budget for, we don't budget for profit. And our equipment purchases are not done exclusively for each year. So we use 50% of the contract hauling rate for our trucks, and 50% of the Alberta road builders rates for our other equipment.
So does that cover salaries and
For
benefits?
salaries, benefits, fuel, and maintenance.
Yeah, you saved half.
Yeah.
So you had the paperwork that was passed around, but it was somebody's opinion, not actual facts. And then now you see what the actual, this is a fact. $641,280.30. That's a fact, not 1.4 million. Like it was brought forward, so, I mean, that's the thing is. Anybody can come and hand out paperwork or go on social media and make their opinions, but until they're facts, they're actually facts. They're just a piece of paper.
So does that include depreciation on the equipment that or is that?
Just to assume our operating costs and wasn't the equipment purchase price.
You can still add 25%
If
on
you add
top of that.
25% to that, you know, we're in close to the same ballpark on cost, maybe a little higher, but we also aren't. Didn't calculate potential road damage to all road north of 545. As council's discussed, you know, if 1 mile of road gets damaged and has to be rebuilt, we're into potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So, couple questions, Darby, is. Are we gonna be able to complete this on our own?
Yeah, if, you know, when we looked at the plan, that was completed in 2024, our number of miles and our number of tolls is the same for 25. It'll be an extended haul, we'll be hauling into October. We do have money in the budget just in case. So when we assess our program in August, if we are not, you know, if we get a wet summer and we're behind, we may need to bring in the contractors to complete it. But we're anticipating that if we get a summer program or summer season like we did the last 2 years, we should have no problems getting this done by the end of the construction season.
So in your estimation, is this the way to go?
If council wants to get the most bang for the buck, this would be the way to go. Potentially having 1 or 2 trucks in the future to speed up the process and get the program done sooner in the summer would be more beneficial. But that brings more maintenance, you know, more manpower, more fuel usage. But it could get it done quicker. So if there is an issue where we get a bad year, we just cannot get the truck and power internally to do it. We need to rely on those contractors. But having the contractors come in the winter, stockpile the gravel, it makes less damage on one select road throughout the year.
So are the truckers loading themselves
Yes. Yeah.
and they're using the scale loader?
So we're working out of Lamont right now, so we've got a scale loader there. And then as we move through the county, that scale loader will go with. And then when we're hauling out of Lamont, we do have the ability, we do have our beam scale set up there. So if the loader has an issue there, we can use the beam scale, and when we haul out of CLH pit, we won't be using the beam scale because when gravel leaves that pit, that's when we get invoiced the last 40%.
So are we utilizing the checker or are we just?
We're utilizing a trucker to start, just to make sure our truck drivers, our new truck drivers, get consistent spread rates. So the first, you know, couple of days, we're gonna have a check with them, just making sure that they know how fast to go, how wide open the gates. And then just periodically checking out, make sure, but essentially they'll be just the truckers, bulb spreading, to make sure it gets done correctly.
Anything else for Darby? Appreciate you taking time. No matter which way you cut it, we're still under our overall budget of $800,000.
And, you know, as council's made changes to the level of service and to how we achieve the level of service. It is good to make sure that, you know, we are making good decisions financially, and, you know, they're going to provide the same level of service to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the only drawback from my perspective is we're gonna have trucks on the roads from now till September, October versus contract haulers is a 5 to 6 week window.
So it's taking that 6 week rush and spreading it over the next 6 months.
But we're creating employment.
We're utilizing it when we have utilizing both the full-time staff we have plus the seasonal staff we have. Utilize, putting our equipment to work, and still resulting in the same result.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to accept this information.
I moved it. Vermont County, Vermont County Committee of the Whole accept the report of the 225 gravel haul costs as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's carried 4-0. Move on to item 8.2. Water access control.
Just after the last council meeting, we learned that we had received approval for our water intake under the province of Alberta Water Act. The application submitted it to Alberta Environment back in November 28th. 90 days later, we gave formal notification to the council's direction on February 28th. Over the past year, we have entertained 5 statements of concern from area residents. We've worked with these issuers of statements of concern to understand their perspectives. We've undertaken a number of mitigation measures. We have advised both the issuers of the statements of concern as well as Alberta Environment of this water act approval belongs to the river intake, the settlement pond, and the pump house adjacent to the intake. The water act approval for the water pipeline will be undertaken later in the process. This will allow for further consultation with the community regarding placement of the pipeline along Range Road 200 and other factors in what's to come. Along with the approval letter is a letter advising us that there is an appeal period. The appeal period is 30 days. Next steps in the process include executing grant agreement with Burris Heartland, executing contracts with the owner's engineering representative. The council directed us to appoint a couple of meetings ago, if I'm not mistaken. Receiving our first 2 installments of the DIS grant, public information and consultation sessions, and then an RFP to either design, bid, and build, or a more of a P3 design, build, operate, etc. The next step is we expect to be advised by the Environmental Appeal Board that there is an appeal, and the normal process will be for a mediator to be assigned, for dates to be determined with the mediator, and then continue towards either a mediated settlement or an environmental appeal board hearing. So I do not have specifics yet about the appeal. For the most part, we have attempted to address concerns from all the issuers of statements of concern. We believe that some of the most significant concerns had to do with the placement of the pipeline, and that's why it was a good idea to separate the approval of the pipeline from the approval of the intake, settling pond, and pump house. So the preliminary certificate and water license approvals will occur once we have the placement of the pipeline meter. I thought it was important to have this presentation in public from a disclosure perspective.
I agree.
This press release went out already.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Mr. Boyko grabbed it. That press release is out for,
We'll be going to take.
it will go out.
It'll go today.
Yeah.
So that's for council's information, if anybody contacts.
So we'll need to change the date to April.
That's good. But I guess the important thing to note here is this is an approval to build the intake. It is not to do our water bases. Is are the engineers working on this already?
The kickoff meeting starts tomorrow.
Well,
So we've been working on parts of it, but just getting the preliminary work done.
because I think they've been signing some checks to WSP already.
Those would be for a bridge program.
Oh, for bridge culvert. Okay. The design of the bridge culvert. Okay. Good news. Big step forward.
Mr. Olson has indicated he has already received a phone calls, even though this hasn't been made broadly public. Yeah, Mr. Lee will bring documents from time to time, just so you're aware of where things are and how they're moving.
Okay. Any other questions regarding
Oh, very good. The approval. All right, if not, entertain a motion to accept the report as information.
I'll move that Lamont County Committee of the Whole accept the report on the Water Act approval of water to intake on the North Saskatchewan River as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried 4-0. Move on to item 8.3, Municipal Affairs Statutes Amendment, Bill 20.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. This is something that was originally announced back on October 31st and now comes into effect. It has been walking the patterns.
Brief and council, this change came with the last update of the Municipal Government Act October 31st last year. And this is just a little reminder for council and for the public that there have been significant changes that have been made to the how public hearings are held. And the MGA section 216.4 states now, when this or another enactment requires a public hearing to be held on a proposed bylaw or resolution, council must conduct the public hearing during a regular or special council meeting. And unless this act or another enactment specifies otherwise, the council may hold only one public hearing on each proposed bylaw or resolution or any part thereof that considers residential developments or developments with residential and non-residential developments under Part 17. Part 17 of the MGA is the part that deals with development. With planning and development, sorry. So there's those two significant changes. Public hearings have to be held during regular or special council meeting hours, not in the evening. And if the bylaw, the proposed bylaw has anything to do with planning and development issues, there can only be one public hearing be held on the bylaw. And that's after the first reading. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.
Okay, so if we go back to page 119, when this or another enactment requires a public hearing to be held on a proposed bylaw or resolution, council must conduct a public hearing during the regular or special council meeting. So
I guess some people held public hearings without making it a formal council meeting.
okay,
This has not been a problem for us. So when you have one in the evening, you must call a council meeting, which is duly advertised.
so yeah, you're going to council meeting in the evening and having the public hearing at the, okay. Then the second one where you can only have one public hearing per.
For proposed bylaw, yeah.
What happened to precipitate that? You'll recall we had more than one.
Yeah, land use plan. Yeah.
So if. Like we had some that didn't attend or didn't, so that's it, they didn't attend,
Or no written submission.
no written submission, there's no second chance. Good. That's good. But it means. Feels like something's a little slippery here.
Another item for comment on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little slippery.
Reading council, if I may add quickly, if you look at page 121, there's also an update, another update that now electronic options for public meeting must be held. So this ensures you only have one public hearing that everybody definitely not come personally.
You could pick it up.
They could listen in through electronic.
Okay, so does that mean that our meetings have to be held electronically, or is it mean just that this?
Public meetings need to be held electronically now, yes.
Okay, so. So the county said don't do it, have to do it now, electronically.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
That's it, like the county said don't,
Well, the counties that don't now must.
yeah. Because you hear this at the convention or whatever, we don't do it, we don't live stream it. Just in time for lunch, maybe.
I had to speak for that. Up to changes with Bill 28. I'll make a motion that Lamont County Committee of the Whole accept the information on the Municipal Affairs Statute Amendments, Bill 20, and the changes to public hearings as information. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Item 8.4, drug testing policy.
We're on page 122. Clarify when post-incident testing will be undertaken.
Thank you. So, yeah, this, again, as Mr. Karnowski said, it's about clarifying the post-incident. And the councilors had cited some recent situations where there's damage to county property, no testing. So, just a little bit of history on that. The policy 4162H.23 was approved on March 14th, 2023. And page 122 shows the applicable sections of the policy. So post-incident drug and alcohol testing will be required in cases where an employee is involved in a serious work-related incident that results in damage to county property, a fatality, or that results in the need for medical treatment due to injury, or a near miss that occurs that could have potential for more serious consequences, such as those listed above. Section 2 of that drug alcohol testing is not required when it has been determined by the CAO or the investigator that the action of the employee was not a contributing factor to the incident, and that the testing should occur within 2 hours of the incident, and the manager is to contact human resources or the health and safety officer to coordinate the appointment. Employee should be driven to the third-party lab for testing by a responsible escort. So forth. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Farmer to kind of walk through some of the updates on the policy and what's being recommended.
So following the council meeting, I took a good look at the policy and what exists with some other municipalities. The issue here is really one around the ambiguity contained within section C of the policy. I noted that it does say testing will be required. And the issue is that we need to be erring on the side of testing as opposed to not testing. But we acknowledge that there needs to be a certain amount of discretion because the way this is currently written, subpoint C says that if there's an incident that results in medical treatment due to an injury, what constitutes medical treatment or an injury? If I cut my finger on a light switch, or if I trip going up the stairs, do I need to go in for a drug test? So what we've identified and what we'd like to present to council is a suggestion to not necessarily modify the policy itself, because we think the policy addresses the major issue, but to issue a directive that would come from the CAO. And the directive would include some key points. The first is that going forward, there is a clear expectation to always err on the side of testing. So the expectation is that when there is an incident or near miss, the testing will occur. And to clarify that there are circumstances where there is almost always the necessity of testing, and that includes any non-superficial injury to an employee or a third party property damage, significant damage to county property, recognizing, of course, the terms significant is subjective. Where an employee has been involved in more than one incident, I recall that was one of the points of discussion on February 25th. where there are signs of impairment, or where the incident doesn't seem to be reasonable, something happened that just doesn't seem to be consistent with what would have happened to a reasonable person. The intention of all of this is to make testing predictable and not selective in how it is applied, so that it is occurring on a regular basis. And we want to identify that in cases where managers or supervisors do exercise discretion to say that a test isn't necessary, that the onus is on them on the incident report to identify why. Specifically, why did you elect, or why did you believe that it was not necessary to test in this case? So still allowing a certain amount of discretion in some instances, but to have to specify why. So we believe that that directive, if appropriately enforced, deals with council's specific concerns. It does bring us back though to one concern that we were looking for some direction on how to address. Council's been fairly clear when it comes to our hiring practices where we're doing pre-hire testing, that in cases where people test positive for any substance, that we are not to be hired. It creates the possibility, if we are going to do regular testing post-incident, that individuals could test positive for cannabis products. One of the things we know about cannabis is, even though it is legal and we have a clear direction that people cannot be under the influence or use while at work, the reality is that it remains people's system. In some cases, if somebody is a consistent user, it can remain in someone's system at levels that will test positive for several weeks, even after someone stops. And so we have this consideration that we're going to have, which is what do we do if an employee tests positive for cannabis on a post-incident test, recognizing that it doesn't necessarily mean that they were under the influence at the time of the incident, but they may have been using to sleep, or they may have been using it recreationally. And the recommendation is that we have the ability to go back to CAN, which is our testing service, and to get the specific amount that somebody tested positive for, and then to do an investigation and to provide discretion then to the CAO in terms of the amount that was in someone's system, the employment history of the individual, and the investigation results to make a determination if we are going to take disciplinary action with the employee. And so we wanted to get some clarification if council would be okay with that as the direction. And then the final component of this is to identify for council that as a check that the directive is being applied consistently. We will provide data on the triannual report that shows the number of incidents and then the number of incidents that did result in testing, so that you can see that it is being applied consistently, and more often than not, we are erring on the side of testing. Awesome, thank you.
What would we have done differently if we would have been following their new recommendation?
In terms of historical practice, or?
Yeah, looking back at some of the incidents that brought us to here, what would have been done differently if we were following this new?
We would have done testing, especially in cases where somebody was involved in multiple incidents. So once we may have had a circumstance on the first incident with the new employee where we made the determination that it wasn't necessary, but once you got past that initial incident, there would have been consistent testing applied. It would have been a requirement. So that's a lot. And then certainly in any of the incidents that resulted in significant property damage, there would have been testing. It would have been a requirement.
The first incident was the most expensive incident they had.
In that case, then we would have had testing at that point.
We had, the problem being, that we had one guy put a dent in the tailgate, he took it for a drug test, and then, another guy does thousands of dollars damage and nothing, so.
I understand. And so the intention is that we would no longer have that kind of selective application through the directive.
We were taking orientation for one of the refineries just, west of town. And, they hired 37 of us with trucks and, we were at a 2-day orientation, and during the orientation, they were picking guys, you, until they had everybody. The drug test, one guy failed, they just escorted him right out of the thing and said, done, they're not hiring him, so.
And as a hiring practice, we do apply that as a standard anytime somebody tests positive on anything pre-hire. We do not employ them.
I think the most powerful thing on this page is the bullet where it says, the manager or supervisors exercise discretion not to test the incident report must identify the reason why testing. So if nothing else, that is really going to force people to either err on the side of testing or have a very strong reason why.
Yeah, put the onus on them.
And if you see that a manager or supervisor is on a consistent basis not applying the testing requirement, then the recourse is to the supervisor or manager who's not following the directive, which is where it should be. Thank you very much.
Thanks to thanks to the liberal government, we now have a society
Which has created it very hard to prove.
It has.
Blame, right?
Absolutely, yeah, no question.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion to accept his information.
I move that the Lamont County Committee of the Whole accept the report on the drug testing policy 4162H-23 as information.
Thank you, Councillor Naka. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried 5-0. On to item 8.5, water station.
Thanks. Mr. Reed, Ms. Benoit will have the report. Students will address the key points with you.
So as has been brought up, in order to keep council apprised of ongoing projects, we are providing an update also on the projects in and around Heartland Water Station. So in regards to the site grading, as council is aware, when the access road to Heartland Station was originally constructed, the ditch between the access road and the highway was left in a state that resulted in ponding and uneven topsoil piles. This was a result of the county not receiving approval from the John S. Badiak Water Commission to run heavy equipment over the water line. Last year, Public Works met with the Water Commission and received approval to pour ditching over top of the water line to ensure surface water will flow from the culverts under Highway 15 to the culverts under the access road and then continuing north. In April 25, we met again with the Water Commission to discuss further grading work that could be done to improve the landscaping of the ditch between the two roads. The Water Commission is currently reviewing the proposed work and will need to verify the depth of the cover over the water line for issuing final approval for us to commence. It's anticipated that if approved, the county will be able to complete the ditch regrading in the summer or fall of 2025 using internal staff. In regards to the dedicated truck fill pump, as part of the 2024 budget, council had approved a capital project for the installation of a dedicated pump for the Heartland Water Station. We had started working with vendors on identifying the type and size of pump that would be most appropriate. However, due to other projects and repairs for the water line from Hillary to Andrew, we're unable to complete the project. As identified by council, we inspected the Chipman water fill station to identify the type and size of pump that services their truck fill, as the fill rate in Chipman is faster than Heartland station currently. Chipman utilizes a 6-inch submersible pump that is dedicated to their truck fill, and this is the same style of pump we are planning to install at Heartland. We're currently working with the engineering firm that originally designed the Heartland station to ensure that the installation location is appropriate and will not have any detrimental effects. And we anticipate that the pump will be installed and operational this summer. Because the dedicated pump will not have a secondary pump installed, the pump will be installed in a location that allows that should a pump failure occur, either a backup pump could quickly be installed, which would be our preferred option, or alternatively, the original piping that needs to be replaced with the new pump could be reinstalled. However, this option would require reprogramming the control system, so it would not be a quick turnaround. As well, we are still currently investigating options to raise the height of the large truck fill spout to allow taller water trucks to utilize it. The current issue there is there are certain trucks that are not able to go underneath and that are actually hitting the fill spout. We are going to need to utilize a structural engineer because modifications to that system. The current system is tied directly into the wall of the truck fill.
Okay, so I guess starting with the site grading. So what exactly is planned here, Darby? It's one of the issues we have is water comes across Highway 15, hits a culvert into Heartland and directs basically to the residents.
Yes, so
Down below. Are we looking at changing that?
yeah, so when we did the work in 2024, we did the ditching from the culverts and the ponding areas adjacent to Highway 15 and took them straight north to culverts under the access road. Looking at the road this spring, we do have the ability to redirect that water both east and west from the main culvert that was flooding concern for the adjacent landowner. And that will direct the water around his yard site.
Is it from the east or the west or west or the east?
West and east. So there's a culvert, the culvert that flows directly into that yard site. There's another culvert further to the west. And that culvert is at a lower elevation. So by lowering the ditch on the south side of the access road, we should be able to divert normal water levels. It may still continue in a flood situation. But unless we remove that culvert, that's the issue, then there will be some water that could potentially flow. The design does allow for the water to flow west and then meet up with the creek on the west side of the adjacent landowner's yard site.
This project has been on the go for a number of years that I've been on the council, so.
So when I started with the county, it was a project that was kind of on the go, it was unclear whether we had the full approvals to perform work over the pipeline.
You did have.
Yeah, so what I was told when I started is we didn't have a crossing agreement. We did some work to level things out, but it resulted in ponding. When we met with Water Commission last year, the discussion was around just ditching from the highway to the access road. We met with the Water Commission again this spring, and they have Other than confirming the depth of the pipe and sure it's proper cover, they don't have any concerns that, this is the, having, large equipment over the water line is gonna be, causing an issue to them.
There never was water cooling there 7 years ago. Then when that Chris Blatz rebuilt the road, he put the culverts high. That's when we started having water pooling, and Danny got permission from Mrs. Tomko, the CEO at the time, or chairman, no, CEO. And with yeah, she was CEO with the engineer that they had at the time, and they got permission to take equipment over the line. That's been going on for 7 years.
Yeah.
And now there's water pooling. There never was water pooling on the highway before we got there.
No,
Concrete.
concrete line. The challenge is that there was no sleeve put over the line, which would allow for us to be working over top of it. So Mr. Deeks has presented the action as we move forward, and the question is, does that satisfy?
How deep is that water line?
10 feet.
10 feet? And how big of a pipe?
That'll probably be what, 14?
Well,
24?
20,
24.
20 or 24, isn't it?
Yeah, I love 24 inch.
Yeah.
It's big, it's big.
Let's get it done.
What do you see on the concrete? You see it?
You'd be surprised.
It surprised me.
You got like a wax ring,
That's
a car ring. And press them all together. Yeah. It is, I was watching when
We're all in a lot of the parking value, Fort McMurray, and on the pizza. You never think it'd stick together.
yeah,
What's the truck fill rate at Chipman?
We tested the trucking rates 3 weeks ago, for 10 cubes, it worked out to approximately 20 liters a second.
Sorry, how long?
20 liters per second,
That's Chipman?
that's it. We tested the Heartland station the same day, we were around 14.5 liters a second. We did have a large draw on the rest of the system at the time. And when we have, low usage on the system and we have a user using the truck fill, our flow meter is around 17 to 17.5 liters per second. And that system was designed to flow at 17.5 liters per second.
well, you have a separate pump for just for the.
So when that system was designed, it was set up for the ability to have 6 vertical turbine pumps working in tandem. 3 were installed. And the truck fill, when it was constructed, they utilized one of those locations for the piping. So the truck fill uses the same pumps, the same system as the rest of the distribution system. So by taking it off of the vertical turbine pumps and having a dedicated pump for truck fill, we can ensure that there's all the flow from that pump will go to the truck fills alone.
Because Chipman has that, right?
Chipman has
Submersible.
a 6-inch submersible dedicated for their truck, their large truck fill units.
Yeah, see, they wouldn't listen here. I know who was here at that time, but yeah, Jim Palmer offered. Again, I'm gonna say, choose the same old thing. Jim Palmer offered to design it because he did Chipman's. It was quick when they first built it, and then they did something in there, slowed it down, but we got a company that fills in Chipman. The Heartland station in Fort Saskatchewan, and they said this is the slowest one by far.
So Mr. Deeks, we budgeted last year, was the budget carried forward?
Yes, it was.
And does the 2 pump solution, do we have enough money for the 2 pump solution?
Potentially we do. We had, when we originally built the business case, we were looking at installing a vertical turbine pump, which is around $40,000 to $50,000. Now that we're looking at a submersible, that's in the $15,000 to $20,000 range. So
Plus the spare.
So we would have the ability to have a spare, if there is a
a pump failure, we'd be able to do within a matter of an hour, have that pump replaced. And
I thought we had 70,000 set aside in the budget.
I thought it was 100, I can double check.
Okay. There's more than enough money either way. Timeline to complete the work.
We met with the engineer, on Friday last week. And we're hoping to meet with them, later this week for the next week to get the final design, and then we can, start getting, quotations from contractors. Potentially within a matter of 2 months, it should be up and operational. The biggest issue we have to deal with is we have to put a diver in, because we do have to core the concrete slab, and we have to move that concrete core before we can install the stand.
Presumably you want to avoid spraying season.
We can do this during spring season. It's a matter of the tie-in point. As long as we can get all the pump installed and the piping ready to go, it's about a day's work to remove the existing piping and redirect the truck fill to the new pump and get the reprogramming installed.
Think this will solve the problem, Neil?
I hope so, because it's, at times they line up quite a bit. Right away is gonna be, just stop rolling, there's gonna be busy season here right away. A lot of trucks just turn around and go to Chipman or go to the port.
So it's gonna increase.
So yes, so we would be looking to install a pump either identical or similar size to what Chipman has to get this.
But the main thing, it's gonna be dedicated just to it.
It's dedicated for it, so if we, right now, if we get a moisture off from one of our customers down the road, we're filling into St. Michael, that's taking away from the water that can go to the truck. But by having a dedicated pump, it's only pushing to those two right until two.
Yeah, that will help a lot.
Mr. Reed, we have a simple, accept this inclusion. Recommendation.
Motion that the Lamont Committee of the Whole accept the report on the Heartland Water Station as information. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Yeah. Carried 5-0. That completes Committee of the Whole. I'll make a motion that Lamont County Committee of the Whole return to the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting at 11:33 a.m. All in favor? Yeah. Carried 5-0. Director's reports, doesn't appear as we have any. Committee reports. Councilor Anaka.
Only committee reports I had is Tuesday, April 22nd. We have the Division 4 Councilor Coffee Talk. It was not feeling well, wasn't there, but Deputy Reed, Councilor Wittis and I attended. It's very good turnout. Just go over some of the issues there. We provided the positive news about fire, the new fire bylaw, and no charge at all. Going to be a 1% addition to the tax notice. Some items discussed were snow clearing, some culvert issues. Compliment on roads done very well. Some questions on sill minerals stockpiling. There was a request for support of churches in the town. Discussion of the gravel hauling program stockpiling versus going directly on the road, Sunland drainage, Whitford drainage, culvert request. Other than that, it was a fairly good meeting. Then on April 23rd, Deputy Reeve and I attended Andrew Village Council meeting and presented the Lamont County check, $50,000 to the Andrew Rural Academy. I assume there will be some photos in the media coming out. That's all I have to mention about committee reports.
Okay, as we started last week, could I have you make the motion to accept your report of coffee talks and handle really adding this information?
Totally forgot about that. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept my reports on the Division 4 Councillor Coffee, April 22nd, and also the information on presentation of Lamont County check to the Andrew Rural Academy.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. Deputy Reeve.
No, the only two that I had is the same ones that Councillor Tanaka had. Was the coffee talks and the check presentation.
The only thing I got a reminder of, there's a Northern Lights Library System meeting on
Right.
Friday. Are you going?
Yes. Unless you're going.
Well, if you're going to, you're the representative, I'm the alternate.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
In case something comes up, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really don't have any reports to present,
No.
Councillor Wick?
Nope, I don't have any at this time. Mine are till beginning of, or right before our next meeting, so.
No, pretty quiet through Easter.
Housing Foundation site tours last Friday, so we toured the Lamont Beaver Hill Pioneer Lodge, Spring Creek Manor in Bruderheim, Elf City Pond at Bruderheim. We did Andrew self-contained, their self-contained units and Chipman self-contained units. I'll make a motion to add that on to my other motion, this information.
All in favor? Yeah. Carried. Okay, a couple items that I did attend to, one was I attended the Strathcona County State of the County Address on April 16th. It was put on by the Strathcona Chamber of Commerce. Basically, we were served lunch and the Mayor Frank gave a state of the county address. what a unique municipality, like between agriculture and commercial and residential and recreation and stuff, like, just so many positive things going for the county, and, they just seem to keep growing. The other thing I did manage to attend is on I believe it was the 16th also. I attended Coffee Talks, not Coffee Talks, the Andrew Volunteer Appreciation. And it was very well done. Kudos to the FCSS staff. Probably had to be well over 100 people there. And the entertainer was good. Can't remember, Travis Dalton. Yeah. He was pretty good. I'm pretty sure that, from what I understand, that they're pretty much the same across the county here. Very well attended. Truly appreciated. 2 different caterers, 2 different meals. Mixed reviews on them, I guess. But like I say, kudos to the ladies that organize these things. Well done. And just a reminder, we have Coffee Talks in Division 1 tomorrow.
Yeah. 6 to 8.
Okay. So with that, I'll move my report on the Strathcona State of the County address and Andrew appreciation as information. All in favor? Carried 4-0. Did that work better, Christiane?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to item number 11, correspondence, Beaver Hills Biosphere Fullerton.
Two items published in the agenda. First one is some information about the Beaver Hills Biosphere. And you can review that at your leisure. Second item, starting page 136, is an invitation from Alberta Hub to their annual general meeting. The annual general meeting is on June 25th. Trying to remember if it's me and deputy.
Yeah, we go
With Shane.
Rich, yeah.
So that's one that you may want to put in your calendar. And of course, on page 137, a little more information about all the of. Page 139. We look at correspondence. It's a letter from the to Minister Ellis. His works online. One is to make up the RCMP. Clearly he is not a supporter of provincial police force. He speaks to some of the with regards to the policing model, claims that if I recall correctly, claims that there are many thousands of dollars spent on positions that are vacant, something you may wish to read at your leisure. The last bit is now appendix to the approved agenda, so that others can read it.
I'm open.
That's the motion, that's.
I don't know if you need a resolution.
It's part of this committee. Okay, so I don't think there's any actionable items. We'll see if there's not, so I have a motion to accept correspondence information.
I move that the Lamont County Council accept all correspondence as information.
Thank you, Councillor Naka. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried 5-0. Item number 12, events calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. We're on page 140 of 140. This has to do with where this is our normal events during May. Aside from getting back on our regular schedule of council meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday, we have a Heartland Air Monitoring Open House on May 12th. And council, or rather, Ag Service Board has its regularly scheduled board meeting 14th, and XCSS has its board meeting on the 15th. Obviously, on the Victoria Day on the 19th of May, the offices will be closed.
Well, accept county council calendar for May as information.
Make a motion that the Lamont County Council accept the councilor calendar for May 2025 as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yep.
Carried. We don't have any closed session items at today's meeting, so with that, I will adjourn the April 29th, 2025 regular council meeting at 11:46 AM.